California. I'd like to welcome you this afternoon and say that we have a real treat in store for you. I'd like to introduce to you a longtime friend of mine, Marie Ruzicka, who's the manager of Alaska events at Holland America Line, coming to us today from Seattle, where I'm sure it's warm and sunny as well. And we're so thankful for the technology that we have these days, because for many years we did in-person seminars for Alaska in our local and regional area, and had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that came and enjoyed learning about Alaska and determining how best to experience Alaska. And now we have the ability to take this same seminar across the country at a time and a way that it's easy for you to attend. So I will be short-winded today, Marie, and just say, everyone, please give a warm, silent clap and welcome to Marie today, who's joining us from Holland America headquarters in Seattle. Over to you, Marie.
Oh, thank you so much, Wes. I so love gosh, we've known each other for over 20 years, and it's always so fun to work with you. So I am here today. Again, my name is Marie Ruzicka, just like Wes said, and I'm here to talk to you about Alaska and the Yukon 2016, our land and sea journeys to this wonderful land. Now let me tell you a little bit about myself, because it isn't just like having a talking head here. I just want to show a picture of me. This was my last cruise to Alaska, and I never wanted to go to Alaska when I was growing up, because I thought that it was the frozen north where people lived in igloos, until one fate-filled day when I was invited by friends who were working there. They happened to be working on the McKinley Explorer rail cars, and they said, hey, come up for your vacation. I thought, well, I'm going to do that. And I took a whole roll of film, when you could take rolls of film, just on the flight there. Now, this was in the early 90s. And when I landed, I could not believe my eyes, just smelling the freshest air I've ever smelled. And I grew up on a farm, so it was beautiful. And then I happened to meet their boss at the McKinley Explorer rail cars. And at the end of the conversation, she said, do you want a job? So a 2-week vacation turned into a 3-month odyssey, traveling around Alaska and falling just in love with the state and the people and the Yukon. And then I created a job where I get to talk about Alaska every day. I feel so blessed. But this isn't about me. This is about you. And I want to make sure that you have a piece of paper and pen out, because what I want to do is share with you my experiences and to show you a little bit about the Yukon and Alaska. What I want you to do with your piece of paper and pen is to write down anything I talk about today so that you can have the vacation of a lifetime. So if something that you're interested in, let's write that down. But let me tell you a little bit about some of the myths before we start that, about the myths about Alaska. And one is the size. And I'm kind of blaming on the weatherman or these school maps here, where Alaska looks like it may or may not be a part of Mexico, and it's about the size of Arizona, because I certainly thought it was more like this size when I was growing up, because Alaska, if you put it over the U.S., it is 1/5 the size of the continental U.S. So it stretches from coast to coast. It is a huge landmass. So when people talk about the weather in Alaska, I usually say, well, the difference, you might want to think about the difference in Savannah as opposed to Minneapolis. And when we think about that in weather terms, then they fully understand that weather is weather. And yeah, it is quite the difference. And if you add the Yukon to this wonderful landmass, we're talking about over 1 million acres here. And I always say that the Great Land becomes even greater. There are many reasons that people go to Alaska, but there are 4 that are usually the most popular. One is to experience the wilderness of Alaska. They don't call Alaska the Great Frontier for no reason. It is beautiful and pristine. Also, there's the wildlife of the region, whether the moose, which is the largest of the deer family. Then there's the caribou. There's more caribou in Alaska than there are people. And then there's the doll sheep. And I always thank these little guys every time I see them, especially in Denali National Park, because Denali National Park was designed to protect and preserve these little guys, so we have Denali National Park because of the doll sheep. And of course, everybody wants to see a ferocious grizzly bear. Another reason that people want to go to Alaska is to view the glaciers of Alaska. 1/5 of the state is a glacier in Alaska, these massive rivers of ice. And another reason, and I always say this is the top reason that most people want to see Alaska, is to view Mount McKinley. It's Mount McKinley on most maps. It's Denali to the locals. It's also simply called the mountain. 20,320 feet. And wherever you are in the world today, if you know the Pacific Northwest and Mount Rainier, Denali is a mile taller than Mount Rainier. And you'll know it when you see it. But she's also so tall that she creates her own weather, so you want to spend as much time there. And I'll talk a lot more about that a little later on. So let's talk about that wish list. If you're, like I said, if you're interested in anything that I'm talking about today, write that down. And let me give you an example. Of course, Mount McKinley would be a wonderful reason to go to Alaska. And if you want to see Mount McKinley, make sure to write down on your list 2 or 3 days in Denali National Park. And here's another wonderful example of something you might want to put on your wish list, and that is Glacier Bay National Park. If you're interested in glaciers, if you're interested in seeing all the national parks of this beautiful nation, put Glacier Bay National Park on your wish list. Holland America has more permits to visit Glacier Bay than any other cruise line, which means for you more opportunities to see Glacier Bay National Park. So write that down if that is of any interest to you. There's so much to see and do in Alaska. I can't count how many guests have told me at the end of their vacation they have wished they had spent more time. So here's my best advice, is to take your time. The best time to go to Alaska is when you can spend the most time there. Alaska is wild. You're on Mother Nature's schedule. Remember, you're not visiting a zoo, so when you see that wildlife, you're going to be in their natural habitat. And vacationing in Alaska isn't like a trip to Europe where you can kick out 2 cities, 3 cathedrals, and a castle all in one day. Alaska is huge, and it's a long way to go from wherever you are, so you want to make sure to take your time. Holland America has 3 different ways that we go to Alaska, and I'm going to explain each one of them for you. One is through cruising. The second series of journeys is the Denali land and sea journeys, the best of cruising and the best of the interior. Then the super secret Yukon. Not a lot of people know about the Yukon, and Holland America is the only major cruise line that goes there. So we also have the Denali land and sea journeys too. So we're going to talk first about your cruises. One of the most important parts of a trip like this is your cruise. You're going to see coastal mountains leaping up from the shoreline, waterfalls and majestic forests all along your journey. And you'll be traveling along the Inside Passage through a 1,000-mile-long chain of islands. It's also a rainforest, so it is likely that you're going to get some liquid sunshine also in Alaska. And Holland America ships are built with Alaska in mind. All of them are mid-sized ships, which means fewer passengers for you. Feature wraparound teak decks and wide open bows, which gives you that perfect spot at the rail for scenic viewing, because we want you to see what you came to Alaska to see. And to me, I always say, you oughter go. I love these little guys. So hopefully on the marine wildlife side, you'll get to see one of these guys. Also the whales and puffins and otters. I mean, it's a beautiful. On the marine wildlife side, it's stunning going on a cruise. Then let's talk about the ships and the interior of the ships. This is a view of one of our areas in the spa. It's called the thermal suites. These are warm mosaic chairs that you can just lay back and enjoy the ride. They're just quite beautiful. Spa sessions. It's elegant and relaxed cruising. Also, there is many options for you for dining, exquisite dining options with an option for everyone, whether it's a 5-course dinner in the dining room, a casual meal in the Lido, complimentary room service, don't forget that, and of course an intimate evening at one of our specialty restaurants like the Pinnacle Grill or Canaletto. And Holland America also has other options, like there are many options on the ship, and every morning you'll have a program that'll tell you what's going on for the day. One of them is, what about a cooking class? If you love watching cooking shows or love learning about new recipes, there is a theater-style venue on the ship, and you feel like you're on your own TV show. It's presented by Food and Wine magazine, and quite the wonderful place to go. Also, what I love about cruising in Alaska and also the land and sea journeys is that you get to personalize your own trip. So if you're thinking about going with a family reunion or traveling with girlfriends or having just a family vacation, what everyone can do is have their own personal, wonderful vacation by personalizing it with shore and land excursions. Here is a picture of zip lining. And there are some people that want to zip line all around the world. There are plenty of places to do it. But let me tell you, if you are interested in zip lining, take your pens out and write down on your piece of paper or on your wish list. You can do that in Juneau, in Ketchikan, in Skagway, Icy Strait Point, and also in Talkeetna. There's plenty of places to do zip lining. Maybe you want to immerse yourself in Native Alaskan culture. There's beautiful options for that. Or what about dog mushing on a glacier? Now this is very, very cool. You get a helicopter ride, landing on a glacier, walking on the glacier, dog mushing with the dogs, and if there's puppies there, you do get to play with those puppies, and they're very, very lovely. There's over 400 shore and land excursions to choose from. And so if I didn't speak about something that you're interested in, make sure to check out. Once you get your booking number with the Cruise Experts and just put it into the Holland America site, and you can find out exactly the shore and land excursions that are personal to your trip. Let's go to the second series of journeys, the Denali land and sea journeys. If you want scenery and wildlife and excursions, the crown jewel of Alaska's interior is Denali National Park, and it's featured because we know how important Denali National Park is. It is featured on all of the land and sea journey combinations. And getting to Denali National Park is an experience in itself. You'll be traveling in style on the Alaska Railroad aboard the McKinley Explorer rail cars. And if you heard the first part of the presentation, this was my first job in Alaska working on the rail, so I love traveling by rail. These are the largest passenger rail cars ever built. Everyone gets a reserved seat on the upper level, and all the seats are forward facing. You'll enjoy sweeping views through the dome glass ceiling, or you can go to the second level, the level below, and have breakfast or lunch, or just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Denali National Park is about 300 miles from the coastline. The park itself is 6 million acres. That means 6 Grand Canyons could fit in that blue circle there on your screen. It's a home of big mountains, big animals, big fun. Denali offers everything from adventure excursions, maybe enjoy a dinner show, or maybe even golf. And because we know how important this wonderful place is, there are 1, 2, or 3 night stays available, and where you'll be staying is at the McKinley Chalets. Exquisite, wonderful place. And Holland America purchased the McKinley Chalets last summer, and we have a surprise for everyone who's attending, especially it's new in 2016. Holland America is enhancing your experience with the new base camp. This has a new restaurant, amphitheater, fire circles all around the way, and also the Gold Nugget Saloon. I mean, this is going to be such a wonderful place that you'll just never want to leave base camp. Although there are plenty things to do. Here's another view of what base camp is looking like. We just today saw the construction and where it's at, and it's such an exciting time. So this is going to be a beautiful thing to launch for 2016. So let's talk about those 2- and 3-night stays in Denali National Park. You'll be on the Tundra Wilderness Tour, and I also wanted to give you your first wildlife sighting there. And may you have such a wonderful wildlife sighting with the mama and her 2 baby cubs there. Let me tell you about the Tundra Wilderness Tour. The National Park Service offers tours into the park. It is 1 road in and 1 road out. And there are many tours, but I'm going to be talking about 2 of them. One is the Natural History Tour, which is the blue line you'll see on the screen there. It goes to about mile 16, which is about 3 hour. It's a 3-hour tour. If you happen to see animals, you're all within tree line. So if their animals are out, you're on the. If they're on the road, you'll see them. And if the mountain is out, and yes, I'm talking about Denali, this is your view of the mountain. It is a lovely view, but let me tell you, on the 2- and 3-night stays, Holland America makes sure you're on the Tundra Wilderness Tour, which is the purple line that you'll see there, where it says about mile 29. What happens at mile 29 around there is that you now climb above tree line, and you have the best, why it says the best wildlife viewing there, and that's from the National Park Service. Why it says that is because you're above tree line, you can seemingly see forever. And so that's why the best wildlife viewing, because if the animals are there, you'll be able to see them. And if the mountain is out, this is your view. This upcoming slide here is your view of the mountain. Now, I can never promise the mountain. Again, she's so tall that she creates her own weather. So there may be some clouds, but I tell you, if on a bluebird day like this day, this would be a lovely, lovely Christmas card. Which brings me to the 3rd way to see Alaska and the Yukon is through the Yukon and Denali land and sea journeys. Holland America is the only major company in the Great Land to offer journeys into this incredible wilderness. Robert Service, the legendary bard of the North, described it as the spell of the Yukon, and indeed it is spellbinding. The Yukon is 25% larger than California, yet only 35,000 people live there, and 28,000 of those live in the capital city of Whitehorse. So you are talking major wilderness here, 1/6 the visitors that Alaska gets. So it is truly a beautiful, I mean, you are surrounded by the brilliance of nature in the Yukon. And Holland America has brought the wonders of Alaska and the Yukon even closer. What happened a couple of seasons ago, Holland America did a fantastic thing. They added a flight between Fairbanks and Dawson City, or the return, depending on which way you're going. And so it was a 2-day coach ride. It's now a 1-hour flight, and that is on all of the Yukon land and sea journeys. And that's only one mode of transportation. There's other modes of transportation while you're in the Yukon. One is the White Pass and Yukon Railway in or out of Skagway. This is the path the gold miners took over 100 years ago during the Klondike Gold Rush. Another way you'll be traveling in style is aboard our luxury motor coaches. These coaches feature first-class legroom, and Holland America is also mobility compliant on our ships and motor coaches, on our rail cars. Make sure you work with your travel professional if you have any special needs. And your Explorer coach is going to travel along the Yukon River, visiting Whitehorse, and then on to Dawson City. And Dawson City is an authentic, active gold mining town. It is the living history of the 1898 gold rush. Gold is still the #1 industry in Dawson City. It's a town of under 2,000 people. You're going to find unpaved streets and wooden boardwalks, false front buildings. It feels like you're just back in time, back in the wild, wild west. If, in fact, you love the history of the gold rush, specifically the gold rush, if you love the stories of Jack London, the poetry of Robert Service, or if you want to truly be surrounded, I mean truly surrounded by the gorgeousness of nature, consider the Yukon, the Denali and the Yukon and Denali land and sea journeys. Because you're here today, I'm going to be giving you some insider tips as you're heading off on your journey. One is to dress in layers. This is the secret to any Alaskan. It isn't about bringing that huge parka. It is about dressing in layers because the weather can change on you and is likely to change on you. You can have rain, wind, and sun all before lunch. So the best thing is to dress in layers. And this is our very handsome and lovely model here that he's got the perfect amount of layers on. He's got that undershirt and overshirt. Make sure that there's a warm fleece and a weatherproof jacket with a hood. Also in his pockets, he's got a hat and gloves. You may never need them, but you see he's in front of a glacier, so if he needs them, he will have them. And I'm just really saying this for selfish reasons because I want you to be outside. I want you to experience, especially when you're in front of a glacier, to experience the pistol shots and the cracks in the ice. It's just such a wonderful experience and can be a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Also, think about the pants that zip out into shorts because it can get warm in Alaska, surprisingly so. It can get up to triple digits, especially when you're into the interior. I know this past summer we had some lovely triple-digit days. And also bring a backpack so you can take on and off those layers depending on the weather. Now, my most popular question that I get after these presentations, so I've just added it into the presentations, is what's the weather like in Alaska? And truly what they're saying, is it going to rain there? And really what I'm really thinking that they're saying is it going to rain on me? And I tell you again, you're on Mother Nature's schedule. And my answer lately has been, I hope so. I hope that it rains on you because the green is so lush when it's raining. The blue of the ice pops and you will get the best pictures on a cloudy, rainy day. And I always say, no rain, no rainbow. The better question to ask is, what are the seasons like in Alaska and when can I spend the most time? So the visitor season in Alaska is May through September, and let me go through the 3 seasons during that time. It all happens so fast in Alaska. May to the early part of June is the springtime. It almost feels like you can watch the grass get greener. Also the locals are coming out, the flowers are getting prolific, the longer days, the animals are coming out to play. It's a beautiful time to be in Alaska in the springtime. Then there is June, mid-June to mid-August. This is the summertime in Alaska. This is when you'll see the salmon runs and the blankets of wildflowers, and you'll get to see the midnight sun. This happens to be time-lapse photography of the longest day of the year, June 21st. As you can see, the sun never sets on that day. Then there's the fall, and that is mid-August to mid-September. The fall foliage is nothing like you'll see anywhere because the ground cover changes. The golds, the oranges, the reds just stretch out for hundreds of miles. The animals become very active in the autumn. They're out getting ready for the winter ahead. And if the northern lights have been on your wish list, think about the end of August into September. The northern lights occur all year round, but you need a dark sky to see them. After June 21st, Alaska loses 6 to 7 minutes of daylight per day. So by the end of August, Alaska is your chance to see them in end of August into September. I just saw on Facebook they had a beautiful display last night. So think about that if you are wanting to head to Alaska. Now here is the fun part. Now this is really where to get your pens out because in fact I just got my pen out. I'm going to go through all 3 of the ways that Holland America goes to Alaska, and what I really want you to write down is whatever is of interest to you. What you're going to do is take this wonderful sheet of paper with all this great information, and you're going to be talking to the travel professionals at the Cruise Experts, and they are going to help you plan your best vacation ever. Let's first start with your cruises. The Alaskan Explorer is a 7-day round trip from Seattle. I also want you to notice, and this just happened, is that on the Amsterdam, which changed from the Tracy Arm to the Hubbard Glacier. Now, the Hubbard Glacier is a 5-mile long, beautiful glacier. If you can think of where you're standing today or where you're sitting today, and think of you, whatever's 5 miles away from you, it is really, the perspective is amazing when you go to Hubbard Glacier. So that was just added the other day. Also, there's the Inside Passage cruises, the round trip Vancouver cruises, so beautiful. There's also the Glacier Discovery 7-day. Now, this is a one-way trip between Vancouver and Seward, or Seward and Vancouver, depending on which direction. And let me tell you, if you love cruising and you want to spend more time on the coastline, consider the round trip Seattle, that the Great Land Explorer is what we're calling it. It's the round trip Seattle, 14 days, no repeated ports, and very special locations that not a lot of cruise lines, if any, go to. They go to Anchorage, Homer, and Kodiak. Also another to Hubbard Glacier, which is great. You also get the Tracy Arm, that 25-mile beautiful fjord. At the end of it is that lovely surprise of the Twin Sawyer glaciers. And let me tell you a little bit. I brought in this map because I wanted to show you the reason why Anchorage is so cool. You have 14 days to do it. Normally the ships would go on a 7-day from either Vancouver to Seward or Seward to Vancouver. Those are the one-ways. But Holland America on the 14-day can take the extra time to go to Kodiak, go to Homer, and all the way to Anchorage. Docks right there in Anchorage. It's really quite beautiful. This is going to bring me to the Denali land and sea journeys. Now I want to explain this page for you. The blue, all the multicolored squares here, the blue is your cruise, and the other multicolored squares are your time spent on land. So you can see that in the brown squares there, you've got triple Denali. So D1 and D2 are those 3 nights in Denali. The numbers at the top tell you how long you'll be there. So as you're doing your research on which trip you'd like to take, you can help with how long you can stay there, if you'd like those 2 and 3 nights in Denali, or anything extra that you would like to make sure that I want to make sure you know how to read these wonderful charts. Again, D1 and D2 are the triple Denali. You'll also see on each of the options there's land first or cruise first. Let me tell you the difference between the two. It's the pretty obvious one. You do your land first and save the cruise to the end, or you start your trip with your cruise and save your adventure to the land. Now let me give you a tip on each of these. If you're considering a land first option, because you're traveling time zones, I mean, even if you're still in California or on the West Coast, you're still traveling a time zone. It's still your body getting used to that new time zone. And again, I'm just saying this for selfish reasons. So my tip is to spend a day or more prior to your trip. And that is to get your body used to the time zone, whether you're spending the time in Fairbanks or Anchorage. To get your body used to the time zone, because the first day, major day, is traveling into the park. And if you're going to be either doing it by motor coach or by rail, that swaying back and forth on this beautiful ride into Denali National Park, I don't want you to fall asleep, and I want you to be rested. Here's a tip for cruise first. Everybody flies into Vancouver, one less time zone for everyone, and the very first day is a day at sea. Now, if you are rested, there is so much to do on the ship, but if you're not rested, and because you have worked all the way up to vacation, making sure the plants are taken care of and the pets are taken care of and the house is lovingly shut up, then having that extra day, not the extra day, but that day at sea gives you that option to get your body used to the time zone, depending on how many time zones you're crossing, and be rested for your trip so you are ready for your adventure. D3, 4, 5, and 6 are our double Denali trips, and I'm going to highlight a couple of these for you. I'm going to highlight D3 and D4. Let me tell you the special thing about D3, and that's that pink square there, and that's in Seward, Alaska. The Kenai Fjords, in the Kenai Fjords area is where Alaskans go on vacation. With that overnight in Seward, you have the option to go on the Kenai Fjords National Park Tour. It is one of the highest rated land excursions in Alaska. So think about going. If you love marine wildlife, if you want to see those wonderful puffins or the whales, then think about, or otters also of course, think about going on the Kenai Fjords National Park. That's D3 if you're interested in that. Also in Seward, there's a Sea Life Center too. It's just absolutely stunning. Again, that's D3 if you love marine wildlife and you want to spend that extra time. If you want to slow down, think, if you want to just a trip that's lovingly, like, just, I say if you want to take your time, D4 is a wonderful option for you. And why it is these wonderful nights in these great places. And one of them is Talkeetna. Talkeetna is the town that, if you've ever seen Northern Exposure, this is the town that it was based off of. And you just, to talk to the locals, this is really well, you get the wonderful local flavor. And you'll also be staying at a wonderful resort here in Talkeetna. You'll also be spending a night in Anchorage and a night in Alyeska. Alyeska is about 45 minutes south of Anchorage. So again, it's a very slow-paced tour, this D4. And to spend a night in Alyeska, one of the premier resorts, there's also a tram that goes up to a beautiful fine dining restaurant called the Seven Glaciers. And on a bluebird day like this day, you can see the glaciers. It's a wonderful place to stay. Then on the D7 and D8 are your one-night options in Denali, which is with a 7-night cruising. So that gives you just a hint of Denali. Do make sure, I just want to make sure that you know that if the number one reason you're going is to see Denali National Park, do make sure to put down on your wish list 2 or 3 night stays in Denali National Park. This brings me to the third way we go to Alaska and the Yukon, and that's through the Yukon and Denali land and sea journeys. And let me tell you, if you want the best of the best, think about Y1. Not only does it have 7 nights of cruising, triple Denali, it's got 2 nights in the best places. 2 nights the best of the Yukon with not only Dawson, but Whitehorse, that's the capital of the Yukon, 2 nights in Fairbanks, 2 nights in Anchorage. And what's cool about Y1 is why we call it our flagship journey, because it has everything. But also what's really cool about it is got round trip Vancouver. That's what makes Y1 really, really special above all the other wonderful things. If 20 days is not on your docket, take a look at Y2. It's got your 3 or 4 nights of cruising plus the land portion with 2 nights in Skagway, triple Denali, another wonderful option. Now you'll notice you see on D2 here and also Y2, Y3, 4, and 5, it's got the 3 or 4 nights of cruising. And 3 or 4 nights of cruising is unique to Holland America Line. So when you're doing your research, and we hope that you do, if this is what you want, think about if you want the shorter cruise with a land option, Holland America is the only major company that goes to the Yukon and has the shorter cruising. Also, you'll notice the diamond next to all of the Y tours, and that is your journey host. We love to say that the journey host is on your land and sea journey with you. They get to know your preferences. If you want to eat in a special spot, they can give you options, and they get to know your preferences for land excursions. They really become your personal concierge on board the trip. I want to make sure on the journey host that Y1 through Y5 are where the journey hosts are. Now, let me tell you, I hope that you're thinking, how do I do this? How do I get there? You're going to be bringing your wish list or talking to one of the travel professionals at the Cruise Experts. And because you're here today, I want to share with you the promotions that are going on today. One is the online Alaska promotion, and that is the shipboard credit and onboard value booklet. The shipboard credit up to $200 per cabin just it depends on what type of cabin that you're choosing. If you choose what type of trip that you're choosing. If you're choosing a cruise-only trip, it is $25 per person, up to $50 per stateroom. The Denali Land and Sea Journeys, D1 through D8, it's $50 per person, up to $100 per stateroom. And on the Yukon and Denali Land and Sea Journeys, if that is your choice, Y1 through Y5 is $100 per person, up to $200 per stateroom. And the onboard value booklet is a coupon booklet that'll be waiting for you in your stateroom when you arrive on the ship. And that's for many different coupons, just like you're seeing on the screen here. And if for the shipboard credit offer, it can be applied to shore excursions or maybe a spa session, maybe wine with dinner, maybe that dog sledding option. It'll help pay for that. So that is a wonderful thing that is going on for because you're here today. In addition to that, what is going on for Holland America is the Explorer 4 program. It is combinable with the Online Alaska program. So not only the shipboard credit and onboard value booklet offer, in addition to that, on select sailings, it's Explorer 4 because there's 4 different offers for you: a signature beverage package, a free Pinnacle Grill dinner, the free reduced cruise fares for 3rd or 4th guests who are in the same stateroom with you, and a 50% reduced deposit. And if you book a suite, not only do you get the Explorer 4 and online, you also receive an additional $300 onboard spending credit and a free Canaleno dinner. Well, I want to be here and answer all of your questions. I know Wes is here to answer your questions too, and I want to thank you so much for coming aboard, and hopefully we'll see you up in Alaska too. So Wes, are you there?
Thank you, Marie. You know, I laughed out loud many times during the presentation. You just couldn't hear me, but it just gets better every time, and yes, you oughter go. It's good. Love that. And all of everything, you know, it really is a show and tell, and it's so educational to go through this seminar with you, as well as see the sights and be inspired. And I've been to Alaska a number of times, and every single time I'm ready to go at the end of this seminar. And so I thank you for your passion and inspiration, your knowledge, your experience. And here at the Cruise Experts, we share that. All of our team all of our advisors are experienced and knowledgeable and have traveled to Alaska. And ladies and gentlemen, this is about you. We want to know what's important to you. It's important that you work with someone who you can trust. If you're looking for someone to understand your needs, your expectations, we will ask you the questions, and we'll help you determine which is the best match for you. And not only that, but you know, when you pick up a brochure or you research online, it's overwhelming, isn't it? How do you know the difference between all the tours? And how do you connect, how do you get from here to here? And that's where we assist you. We're going to make sure that all the dots are connected, that you get from your home, help you with the airline arrangements, everything that you need to complete a complete package and have a fantastic journey and experience in Alaska. So we would encourage you to call us at any time you're ready. I know that some are exploring at this point. You're a planner. You want to get your cruise tour booked for next year. It's not too early. This is the perfect time to begin looking and considering and exploring and narrowing down which is the cruise or cruise tour or land and sea journey that is going to be best for you. So we would love to assist you with that, and we would encourage you to call us. Number, I think what you see on the screen is toll-free from anywhere in the U.S. and Canada. It's 866-787-6866. If you have questions, we're here to help you. You can call afterwards. You're welcome to type into the screen right now for Marie or me if you have something you would like to know today, or might be more appropriate to do it offline if you want to just give a call. But the important thing is to communicate and let us know how we can help you and how we can help you understand the Holland America Cruise or land and sea journey that's best.
Wes?
Yes.
We do have a question from Joanna. Can you discuss the difference between the Y2, 3, 4, 5 Yukon and Denali Land and Sea. What does the number mean?
Maria, I'm going to defer to you on that.
Yes, yes. I am trying to get that screen right now.
Those are the Yukon tours, and I'll tap dance out while you're pulling that up.
Yes, it is.
Those are the ones that have a combination, either a 3 or 4 day cruise, which is unique to Holland America Line, which you can see on your screen, along with a land journey. And I can tell you that if it's your first time ever to go and you want to have the most bang for your buck and the most comprehensive experience, we have about 40 or 50 people that are leaving on this tour here in just the next couple of days, few days. I know they're excited more than you can possibly imagine, because this is the best way to see the most and have a wonderful experience if you're only going once. If you have cruised, and many people have cruised and done the round trip Seattle tour, this complements what you've already seen and what you've already experienced. And it just gives it's a big place, like Marie said in the seminar, and so you will want to see and experience as much as you can. Marie, over to you.
Yeah, the difference is, of course, you think about how many days that you have. Then if you want to do it all and see it all, I really do recommend Y1. With that 7 nights of cruising. The difference between Y2 and then 3, 4, and 5 is that Y2 is an option for your triple Denali. So if you want to spend more time in the park with 2 nights in Skagway, Y2 is a wonderful option with the 3 or 4 nights of cruising. Again, we want you to have your best vacation. Then Y3, 4, and 5 are the double Denali trips. That's 2 nights in the park with the 3 and 4 nights of cruising. Whether you want to have 2 nights in Dawson, there's so much history to learn about, the land excursions and the history. I love to talk about 2 nights in Dawson and 2 nights in Denali. So either of those, Y4 with the overnight in Skagway, that's a lovely cruise port and a wonderful option for you. So, really, truly, we want you to have your best vacation. So any of the Y tours with the option for the journey host, no, it isn't an option. It is part of the trip to have a journey host with you too. But I hope that answered your question and kind of gave you a bit of an overview there between the Y1, Y2, which is the triple Denali trips, and the Y3, 4, and 5, which is the double Denali options for you.
Got it. I can speak from experience, but I know that when you're considering this for the first time, there's a lot to sort out and a lot to understand. And so, again, we encourage you to stay in touch and let us know. We can help interpret value and interpret the options for you. Anyone else have a question you would like to type in here, or we will call it a day? There's no one else? Julie, anyone else have a question?
No, I don't see anyone.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you very, very much. Again, it's been, I know that if you could speak right now, you would say it's been great, because I know it's been great. I know you've learned a lot. I want to thank you again, Marie, for taking time out of your busy, busy day. It's always a treat to have you. And ladies and gentlemen, Alaska is a spectacular destination. And so please allow us to help you experience that. And we would again encourage you to call us here at Cruise Experts, 866-787-6866. I want to thank you again for joining us today. It'll be our pleasure to work with you, and we look forward to being in touch with you here over the next few days. Take care. God bless you. Bye-bye now.